The South West Coast Path is England's longest national trail. At 630 miles, it follows the coastline through 4 counties, starting in Somerset through North Devon, all the way around Cornwall, South Devon, and finishing in Dorset. Along with my friends Katie and Rupa, we're planning to walk the whole route over several years. This year we're going from the very beginning, Minehead in Somerset to Ilfracombe in Devon. Today it's day 1 and we're walking about 11 miles from Minehead to Porlock Weir. Katie and I awoke early and went down to the beach just seconds from the hotel to record an intro for the video. It was a beautiful morning and we were giddy with excitement.
Morning!
Morning! We're in Minehead in Somerset.
I can't believe it. We've been planning this trip for 6 months, maybe even more. And
yeah.
We're here, it's happening.
Yeah, it's really exciting. We are taking on the first leg of a long trail in the UK called the South West Coast Path, which we will be doing over the course of maybe 10 years.
I think it's probably, at the pace we've outlined, it's going to take us 10 years. It's 630 miles altogether. Yeah. We do not have the time at our disposal to do that all in one go, so we're going to take a week each year and see how far we can get. So we arrived here in Minehead last night and it was sunny, it was beautifully warm. We had a little dip in the sea.
Yeah, that was amazing. It's due to be very sunny today and then not so much for the rest of the week. We might have some rain.
Some rain, meaning there are thunderstorms forecast, so we could be in for an interesting experience with the weather. But to be honest, I'm a bit worried about the heat for today.
Yeah, today is going to be quite tough. Probably
it's going to be a challenge. We should also introduce our friend Rupa, who's going to be walking with us as well.
Yeah,
she's
not here right now.
No, but she will be with us and you'll probably see her throughout the videos. So
yes.
It's really nice. I've wanted to walk the South West Coast Path for as long as I've known that it has existed. I think I've done little chunks of it in the past, but I've always wanted to do the whole thing. So it's really special to have found a couple of friends who are as excited about it as I am, who are up for it as well.
So we think that we start this morning's walk by climbing up this little mountain here. This route has a lot of cliffs. There's a lot of climbing up and down.
I read that the route as a whole is the equivalent of climbing Everest 4 times.
Which sounds fun.
That sounds a little bit intimidating.
It's also our first attempt at doing this where we're sort of carrying everything with us every day that we need, because before we were able to kind of leave things at certain points and not carry all of our belongings.
Yeah, I should say that we're not camping. We are staying in bed and breakfast or guest house accommodation, so we're not carrying tents or anything like that. But even so, a bag with a week's worth of clothes and snacks and a day's bottle of water is very heavy.
Yeah.
So
that's another element that we're slightly not used to, but it'll be interesting to see. It's taken quite a lot of planning to figure out what we need.
There's been a spreadsheet.
All the bookings of the,
I will give credit to Rupa as the mastermind of the spreadsheet. She did a great job.
Yeah, it's even got tide times on it, thanks to Katie, so that we know when we can go in the water.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's going to be a very important part of this trip, is getting a chance to swim as much as possible. In fact, I'm just looking over there and seeing some people in the water, wondering why I didn't put my swimsuit on right now and have a go.
Well, we certainly will at the end of today, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope there'll be a chance later on.
Yeah. So now we've got about half an hour before our hotel breakfast.
Yep.
So we're just desperately waiting for that.
And then we need to go and forage to find our packed lunch for the day as well, and then we can set off up there. After stopping for the obligatory awkward photo at the official start of the route, we headed for the Royal National Lifeboat Institute shop on the outskirts of Minehead for some souvenir shopping before the hiking could begin in earnest. We've just started with a gentle little stroll along the beach from Minehead, and now we're going up the hill. It doesn't look too fierce yet, but this is the hardest part of the trail today, so I'm quite glad we're getting it out of the way this morning. And we're going to get sweaty. So despite what it looks like, I did just stop for a bathroom break, but I did not wet myself. I leaned on my water hose and it went all over my kilt. This was, I'm not going to say it wasn't an accident, but it's not the accident you might think.
The climb out of the town was a steep path through beautiful ferny woodland. We were passed every so often by ultra-marathoners who were running the West Country Ultra, an event with the option to run either 50 or 100 miles along the coast starting in Minehead.
We emerged from the woods on top of North Hill and found ourselves entering Exmoor National Park. Here, the Southwest Coast Path splits into two alternative routes for a while. We opted for the rugged path, a more dramatic route hugging the cliffs and looking out over sea views.
The path often took us inland along one side of a valley and then back out towards the sea along the other side. There were Exmoor ponies and many, many flowers glowing in the sunshine. So here we are for another update.
I think we are just over halfway.
Yeah, it's been absolutely stunning.
It has been amazing. I keep saying that it's like my entire Southwest Coast Path fantasy. It's just perfect.
Yeah, so we left from Minehead.
Wow, have we really not said anything since then?
I don't think so. We stopped in at the Lifeboat Institute shop
That was
when we
very
were
lovely.
leaving Minehead, which was so cute. And we talked to the man there that said they had recently rescued 2 hikers on this path. So that was
Well, I would like to add that they weren't actually on this path. They had strayed onto a tidal beach and then got stranded. So they were
that's a good point.
not following the official route. And since then, well, when we left Minehead, it was really steep uphill through the woods, and we kept getting overtaken by loads of ultra marathon runners who were much faster than us.
Yeah. But they were beautiful woods, full of ferns and flowers and just gorgeous. And then we kind of emerged onto a bit of moorland.
We're on Exmoor, Exmoor National Park. So it's been lots of gorse and wildflowers and butterflies.
So many bluebells. There was one little section that was like a bluebell fantasy. And we saw rabbits.
Yeah, and we saw a mystery bird of prey. I can't tell you what it was. My best guess is a peregrine falcon. But
and the
I can't be sure.
butterfly.
We saw a green hair-streaked butterfly, which is very special for me. I've never seen one of those before, so I was very happy. I did a little happy dance.
So we've already had lunch, and now we're kind of heading back towards the water, I think.
Yeah, I think we're at just about the highest point for the day. It's been a lot of up and down and then up again, but the end of the day is a steep downhill and then a nice flat section into our stop for the night, which is Porlock Weir.
Yeah, with hopefully a beach.
Hopefully a beach, a swim, an ice cream, a cold beer, all of the above.
And here comes Rupa.
It's Rupa! Thanks for joining us.
Creepy friend in the middle. I'm having a wonderful time.
Yeah, it's been good.
It's great. It's hard.
Yeah, this is the longest of our days, and it's also the hottest.
Yeah.
So I think once we've done this, we'll be fine.
It'll feel a lot more relaxing after this, I think.
Yeah.
But we're taking it nice and slow, which is lovely. Lots of breaks.
Yeah, I feel like basically everyone else who's walking the same route today set off after us and then overtook us, and now we just have the path to ourselves because
early on it was all the runners, the race was happening, and there were some mountain bikers as well doing these crazy steep descents and ascents on their bikes, but then suddenly it got really quiet, which has been a delight, and we've only passed 1 or 2 people since then.
Yeah, and there's just been moments where you could stop and hear nothing but the breeze and the singing of the birds. It's beautiful.
Happiness.
So that's Porlock, and that's Porlock Weir over there, which is where we're heading, over there.
We began our descent towards Porlock Weir along a very long rocky valley where the sun beat down and there was no breeze. Halfway down, Rupa's shoelaces needed some attention.
Come on, Kat, you're lagging behind. How's that tightness?
That's good. It's good.
We eventually found ourselves at a cluster of very quaint buildings where we had been hoping for a cream tea, but it was not to be. However, some little streams led us to a place where we could buy some local apple juice to help us recover from the heat. Katie also found some knitted goods.
After the little village, a country lane led us towards some salt marshes. It was extremely hot, and we passed some eerie skeleton trees which were killed by salt water when it breached the shingle ridge not too long ago. We headed onto the stony beach for the final stretch towards Porlock Weir. The pebbles were large and tough to walk on, and we were incredibly relieved when we reached the road into the village.
We checked into the Ship Inn, our home for the night, then headed out for a look around. Katie had a swim in the very cold water, then we ate pizza on the beach as the sun slowly started to set. It was relaxing listening to the birds and watching the little harbour slowly fill up for the evening.
Oh, what a beautiful evening.
Yep. We made it to Porlock Weir. Katie's had a second swim.
2 swims in 2 days. I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Quite a bit colder here. I only put my feet in.
And Rupa didn't touch the water at all.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah. We were rather hoping. We had quite a brutal end to today's hike.
It was really tough. I thought, because we did that really steep downhill bit, and then on the map it just showed it being 3 miles of flat at the end of the day, but what it didn't show was this really tough, like, pebbly beach. And when I say pebbly, I mean like big pebbles. They really hurt your feet to walk on them.
Yeah. So we had a descent off the sort of cliffs that was baking hot, followed by some salt marshes, which were quite nice, but hot.
Hot, very hot, no breeze.
And then we were kind of following right along the sea the whole way, but we couldn't actually see it.
Yeah.
And then when we finally got to see the sea, we were walking on these painful pebbles. So we were so hot and tired, we really wanted to get in the sea, but the tide was about as out as it could have been at that point.
Which meant we'd have had to walk over more of the horrible stones to get anywhere near the water, which I've just done. It wasn't very nice, but it was worth it.
Yeah. So instead we just checked into our cute inn that we're staying in for the night, and we came back to the beach. I'm glad you managed to swim.
I'm very glad I managed to swim. It's been lovely. My feet are ready to not have me standing on them now. It was 11.4 miles in total, which was only a little bit more than the app anticipated for us. So,
Yeah.
I'm happy it's done. I'm
Yes.
happy that was by far the longest day's walking we're going to do this week. So it's all going to be very, very chilled from here onwards.
Yes, yeah. I'm glad we had one really sunny day. Yeah. But yeah, it'll be a relief not to be quite so hot.
Definitely.
People were running out of water, people were getting really...
I drank a full 3 litres of water.
Yeah. And by the time we reached the inn, we were all quite cranky and tired.
Yeah, I'm ready for a rest. But I'm also just looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah.
Excited.
More of the coast. Can't wait.
See you then. Oh, I've got my fingers in it. Oh wait, that was rubbish.
Oh, here come some people.
Oh well.
Oh no, it flopped.
I just said that.
Did you? Okay, we can cut that. Should we leave that as the intro and then do some walking?
Yeah.
Put these down.
Oh, I could have held them for you.
Okay.
I feel like this is going to be a shot that Rupa's going to veto. Do I need to...
I think that's a lovely way to end. Thank you for watching our first South West Coast Path video. The next episode is over on Katie's channel. Follow the link on screen or in the description box below. We also have a Ko-fi account if you've enjoyed coming along with us and want to contribute towards our next adventure.